Hey there! It's Kevin here from MaximizingEcommerce.com. I help people build e-commerce businesses they can be proud of. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I do these videos. I've been doing the YouTube channel now for about 2 years, and it had been relatively inconsistent. And then lately, I've been doing a little bit of a push of doing videos more often, trying to do at least one a day for, well, about a week into it. But my goal is to make it, hold myself accountable to doing it more often. If it's not daily, at least a whole lot more often than sporadic is what it had been for the last several months. I don't really have an excuse at the end of the day. I'm ultimately responsible for my own results and the things I put out there into the world, but I had a full-time job. Now I no longer have a full-time job, so now I can't use the full-time job as an excuse not to post content, because I believe in what I'm doing here on this channel. And a lot of it really comes down to, I feel as though I've been blessed with having a lot of great mentors along the way. And that's the beauty of the internet, is that you can have great mentors and they may not have any idea who you are. I think about what had me getting into the whole idea of selling things online. One of the first people I listened to was Pat Flynn's podcast, Smart Passive Income. Pat, he's got a great following, great podcast. I'd actually sent him some emails early on, and he had responded to them. So he's everything I hear is a very genuine, good, down to earth guy. And there's a lot of other people along the way. I'd say like Scott Volker, Ryan Daniel Moran. I listened to his podcast quite a bit when I was getting into e-commerce. Steve Chu's My Wife Quit Her Job. Quite a few other people that helped me along the way, whether they realized it or not, whether it was me just watching one of their videos on YouTube or listening to their podcast, whether I binge listened to it or just one or two podcasts of theirs I listened to, and it really kind of helped me. I would say it helped set my mind into like the idea that I could do this, because I don't know if you're like me, but growing up, there was almost like this idea that all the good ideas were already taken. And the reality is the last 20 years has taught us that's 100% false. There's lots of great ideas. In fact, there's kind of like gotten to be a snowball effect of great ideas, and there's lots of other things we could do. So this notion that, everything that could happen or we could come up with, I remember in the mid 80s, people kind of talking that way. And, then all of a sudden we had this internet thing, this online, this World Wide Web, this information superhighway. We didn't know what to do with it. And so it's opened up all these doors. And so, having grown up to believe that, you should go to college, get a safe job, and do all these things. And then, I started to feel like I was climbing the wrong ladder. There's nothing wrong with jobs. I think jobs are great. If you have a job, do the best you can in that job and do a good job for them. But after a while, it was like, I felt like I was working really hard, and, I was laid off from a job. And it was basically, I was a victim, so to speak, of, I don't like to think of myself as a victim, but, I was basically caught up in corporate downsizing because, the company I was working for got bought out by another company. I have no ill will towards the people involved in that decision, but it was a business decision that, their hand was kind of forced to make. So I truly believe more and more as time goes on, we need to have more control over our own financial destiny. And I think entrepreneurship is one of the great ways to do it. And the nice thing is with things like e-commerce, you can do it on the side. It doesn't have to be something that becomes your full-time job, like it's, for me, become my full-time thing. But, looking back, I've was blessed again to say that I found a lot of great mentors. I found these notes in this composition book from a webinar, which it's on Facebook Live, so it's probably flipped around. But it's from July 23rd, 2015. It was when I was thinking about getting into e-commerce, and I was like, found the Amazing Seller podcast with Scott Volker, and went on one of his webinars and followed his process of, just by listening to his podcast, and kind of backtracked it. And, I've listened to his podcast pretty much regularly ever since, I got into e-commerce, and it's helped me. And there's a lot of other great podcasts I've listened to, and some have evolved their formats and things of that nature. And, you know, some people I listened to along the way, I don't even remember necessarily. Some of them, I'm trying to think of who they might have been, that I don't even think their podcasts are around, or maybe they're no longer in my podcast feed, or whatever the case is. But, you know, if you're watching this video, I want to help you, and, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. And, you know, who knows? Maybe we'll get to know each other one day. Maybe we can, you know, partner. I feel like, you know, you never know what would happen and what doors would open. So, like, you know, for example, I'll use Scott as an example, for Scott from the Amazing Seller podcast. I've gotten to know Scott. I would consider Scott to be a good friend of mine. If you're not familiar, he and I are working together on Brand Accelerator Live, because the position I got downsized from a few years back was in the conference industry, working at a big convention hotel, and I have that experience working in conferences, and so, you know, that was a partnership opportunity for us to work on. I'm not looking for people to, you know, write me and say, hey, Kevin, let's be partners on something necessarily. But, you know, if it just comes organically, or if I meet you at a conference, you know, please come up and say hello. But the reason I'm doing these videos, I'm really probably meandering around all that. But the whole point of what I'm trying to do here is get to a point of thinking of when I first started, when I was making my first sales to, you know, let's say when I left my job. You know, there's no real destination. We're constantly building our businesses. But when I was in, basically from where I am now to when I first started, I'll just say that, you know, what information would have been helpful for me to know along the way, and I'm just trying to pass that along. And so if you have questions or anything that you're trying to figure out along the way, I'd love to know in the comments down below. So what questions do you have? What kind of burning things come up? What do you feel like you need focus on, or, you know, clarification on? Whether you're just getting started or, you know, you're up and running, you know, what are the things that you feel like, you know, you want to know more about? So if there's anything I can do to help you, I feel like I'm, you know, helping others. You know, there's people that know a lot more than I do, but then there's people that would, you know, I feel like I can help. And even the people that know more than I do, maybe I know a piece of the of some equation, you know, along the way that, you know, I can help them with. So wherever you are in your journey, I'd love to know, you know, how I can help you and be more of service. I want to do more of these videos. Basically, my way of giving to the world of like, okay, I've gotten to a certain place. Success is never final. I do truly believe that. I'm constantly growing myself and trying to learn, but I do want to know, is there anything I can help you with along the way? What are you struggling with? You know, again, leave it in the comments down below. So hopefully you found this video to be helpful, somewhat insightful. And, you know, if there's anything, again, I can do for you, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing so that I can let you know when other videos become available. So hope you're having a great day, and I wish you the best in your e-commerce journey. Take care. Bye-bye.